What's up, y'all? It's your girl Shay Renee, and I am back to talk about Sisters Season 5, Episode 12, Backlash. Now, can I tell you something? In this episode, Karen, we know your ass is lying, okay? But let's get into it, shall we?
Can't ball in a life, man. Go on with it, go on with it. Do us. So we are coming in with a force. Yeah. Blessing the reap and we coursing on.
All right, y'all. So the episode starts off with Calvin beating Q to a pulp, which I'm like, why? This was such a waste of time of a scene. Why are we fighting Q? Like, why is Q even here? Why is Q a character? But he is, so whatever. So Calvin is beating him to a pulp, and Sabrina's like, Calvin, stop. And Calvin's like, Sabrina, get your camera out. And Sabrina's like, no, because it's not going to work. He's never going to confess. I'm like, y'all are dealing with a criminal, okay? This man, this is probably not the first time somebody done beat his ass to a pulp, okay? He is not going to tell anything. He's not. So why on earth did you think, first of all, Calvin, we know why you wanted to fight Q. You wanted to show Sabrina that you really do got some balls under that pink thong that you want to wear when y'all getting it in, okay? Listen, all right, Calvin, you're a man. Great. But just because you beat somebody's tail don't mean that you a man, sir. Okay? That you done got beat up too many times in front of Sabrina for her to see you for some macho man. Okay? It ain't gonna work. So moving on. He ends up, Sabrina tells Q, get up, Q, just get out of here. Get out of here. So Q runs out. He's like, this ain't over. And then Sabrina tells Calvin, she was like, that wasn't a good idea. He was like, why'd you let him leave? She's like, it wasn't a good idea because if he did say it on camera, he would be under duress. So it wouldn't have worked. And he was like, I don't care. We got to do something. I'm tired of him. He's the reason why Maurice is still in jail. He's the reason why you went to jail. Like, he's the reason why all of this stuff is going on. And I'm sick and tired of him. So I'm like, okay. So what's the real plan with y'all? Okay. So they sit down and talk, and they discuss trying to him trying to be there for Sabrina. Sabrina says that Danny did tell her that he tried to help get her out of jail, and that he was really trying to help. And he was like, but she never called me to get the money that I was going to give to get you out. And she says, yeah, but we didn't need it. Andi was able to pull some strings to get me out. And then he was like, you think Andi will be able to help Maurice? And so Sabrina was like, sure, let me ask her and see if she can help get Maurice out the same way that she helped get me out. Then he said, I really like your hair like that. I like your natural hair. She was like, thanks. But, it really wasn't my choice. I love my natural hair too, but it wasn't my choice. And I think she's having flashbacks of how all of this is happening to her. She didn't have anything to do with it. She's innocent. She's had to change her hair. She's, pretty much lost her job at this point. Like, her whole life has changed over something that she didn't even do. And I think that it's taken a toll on Sabrina. So they talk, and, he says, I'm always going to be here for you. Just let me know if you need anything. She said, okay, I probably won't, but just let me know if Maurice calls you. And he was like, yeah, I'm surprised Maurice hasn't tried to call me. And I'm like, Maurice did call you, fool. This is what I'm talking about with Tyler Perry be forgetting what he said. Because I don't know if it was like 3 or 4 episodes ago, Maurice was calling Calvin on the phone. Okay. But Calvin was like, why would anybody be, this looks like correctional facility's phone number. Why would anybody be calling me from a correctional facility? And Q was like, yeah, that doesn't make any sense. And then he flipped Calvin's phone over and silenced it from the call continuing to come through, just in case Maurice tried to call again. So Maurice did try to call him. So Calvin, either he doesn't remember, or Tyler Perry forgot that scene that he did have Maurice call Calvin from jail. But moving on, Sabrina says that she's going to go home and get some rest. And Calvin says, you know, he's going to be here for her. And if Maurice tries to call, he's going to let her know. Okay. So Karen is at the doctor's office, child. And they picking up from where they were last episode, where she is now faced with saying who the baby daddy is. Now, if we remember, Karen slept with Aaron first. Okay. She slept with Aaron earlier, and then a couple days later she slept with Zack. So they gave a date of the 12th and the 19th. I would think the 12th was Aaron and the 19th is Zack. Okay. She said the 12th is the date. She tried to bojangle around. The girls asked her, so who's the baby daddy? And she was like standing there stone faced. And Danny is like, okay, well, let me look at the calendar. I'm like, well, Danny, how you gonna look at the calendar? You don't know when the heck anybody entered that girl's pussy hole. You don't know what that girl was, when that girl had sex. You ain't clocking her vagina. But just in case you are, hell, look at your calendar, sis. Set yourself off. So Karen finally belly aches and says, it's Zach's baby. And then she says, oh, and Andi, go ahead and tell your friend too. First of all, that's how I know your ass is lying. Because why is the first thing that comes out of your mouth to go and tell Fatima? You're so hurt. You're so pent up over, you're real pressed over Fatima. Girl, listen. On to all the Karens out there. If a man doesn't want you, sis, the man doesn't want you. Okay? All of this ring around the rosy, bojangling BS, bitter baby mama in the making stuff that she's doing is just not going to work. Zack doesn't want her. He just doesn't. And I never understood women that want to try to force somebody to be with them that clearly doesn't want to be with them. It makes absolutely no sense to me. None whatsoever. So anyway, she lies because she's definitely lying. She tells the girls that it's Zach's baby, and they are looking at her like they don't believe her. Okay. So they all say, well, you know what? Let's just get on to our regularly scheduled program. I got to go to work. Danny was like, she got to go to work. Karen says she going to go work in the salon. And they like, well, you need to keep it cute and careful because you're not supposed to be working in the salon with all this stuff you got going on. Mind you, we don't see not a near baby bump from Karen. Where's the baby bump? Tyler, listen, invest in a baby bump. I know you got a couple of them back there in the studios. Go on, get one nestled on homegirl because she don't look pregnant at all. Okay, she don't even look like it's a food baby in there. The only thing that's pregnant is her thoughts of BS. Okay, and she's growing and growing in her mind every day, full of those. Okay, and the cravings are real. Moving on. So Andi says, well, why don't we all meet up tonight at my house and talk about it? Because they ask her, is she going to tell Zack? And she's like, I don't know. I'm like, so you don't know if you're going to tell Zack that this is his baby, but you wanted to put Fatima on game real quick. If Andi did go and rush and tell Fatima, do you think that Fatima was not going to tell Zack? Are you trying to cause strife in their household? What is your problem? Girl, get a life. Get a life. Moving on. Zack goes to Fatima's office and they discuss, what he talked about with the lawyer. Basically, he's screwed. So I didn't understand. Now, y'all, I didn't review the last episode because I was really on the fence about whether I was going to even continue to review this daggone show because some of this stuff is just so unreal. It's ridiculous. And then I said, if he makes this baby Zack's, I'm really about damn done. But nevertheless, I'm still here. Okay, and we're still talking about it. So last episode, Zack went and talked to a lawyer, and the lawyer had basically said that both of them gonna get 50% of his money. So one person gonna get 50% and another person gonna get 50%, which I'm like, Tyler, what lawyers are advising you that this is what happens in real life? Don't no baby mama get 50% of your income, sir. And if you have more than one child, your baby mamas don't get all of your money. Okay? They don't get that much of your salary. That doesn't make any sense. So you basically saying this man is working to make nothing, which most baby daddies may argue with bitter baby mamas that is true. That very well is true. They can't afford to live because child support is eating them up so bad. But in this situation, Zack has a pretty good coin, and he just came into this coin. He's not about to have to give them 50% of his money, and he have nothing. That's stupid. I thought that was dumb. But anyway, getting back to the scene at hand, he's talking to Fatima and confirming basically that the lawyer said that they're going to take him for bad. Because Fatima is at a point where she's like, I'm not trying to walk down the aisle and jump nobody's broom with you. Because if they come after you for all your money, then when we're married in the state of Georgia, that means I got to pay your child support too. And I ain't mothered neither one of these children. And we just starting to figure it out. So I'm not trying to be having my finances all tied up in yours. So they agree, even though Zack really wants to get married, but he's trying to figure this all out. So they agree that they're going to have both of the baby mamas come over, and they're going to talk to them and try to figure something out outside of the courts as to what they need to do, because it could be worse for them. But my thing is with Zack, I would confirm that Karen's baby is his, like with a blood test, before I go and be trying to make any type of agreements or drawing up some paperwork with her. And with that other baby, Heather's baby, the stripper chick, I don't believe her either. I think that her and daggone Hayden is the scheme that Todd set up to come to you with the boat. I think that Hayden found those results because Fatima got the test done at the law firm. So I feel like Hayden got wind of it some kind of way, because he is constantly stalking and sneaking after Fatima every chance he gets. I think that he found out and he changed those results. That's what I think. Because ain't no way, mind you, I don't think Karen's baby is his too either, because he didn't even finish. It was literally that. Now I get it, pre-cum is a thing. But unless he got some super friends going on, okay? And it's not like Karen, they have been screwing and doing all before. It's not like Karen had gotten pregnant several times before. So why all of a sudden he coming in and give you 4 good pumps of pleasure and now you pregnant? Y'all didn't finish. But you daggone finished and restarted and did some more with Aaron. Girl. And I think Aaron know that's his baby. That's why he ain't listening to Karen, because we're going to talk about that in the next scene, okay? So moving on, Zack and Fatima are talking about a plan to tell the ladies. Fatima says, do you think I should call them and set up the meeting for us to go over this and talk about it? And he was like, you, Miss shoot 'em up, beat 'em up? No, definitely not about to do that. I'll handle it, okay? So then Hayden comes in the office and he was like, oh, you're in here. I guess I can save my money. I don't have to have somebody else come and do this. And he drops a subpoena on the desk so that he's basically subpoenaing Zack to come to court to talk about this whole situation with the baby, Heather and the baby. So I'm like, how convenient. So then he comes in, as he walks in the office and he's talking, Zack is like, oh, your breath. Is it always like this? Now, I can't stand bad breath. Oh, I can't stand a bad breath situation, because especially when you got to talk to people, and especially if it's somebody that's your superior or somebody you got to talk to all the time, and they know that it's a little stank foot kicking around in the back of their throat, and they just are talking and talking. And I'm like, I know you smell that. But I digress. Moving on. So he's basically saying, yeah, and I'll see you in court and all this, that, and the third. So Fatima is like, Zack, you got to take this serious. He's like, I'm not taking that. And she's like, you have to. Like, you have to take this paperwork, take it to your lawyer, have her look over it, and let's figure this out. He's like, man, I knew I should have beat him up when I had the chance. And she's like, that's not going to help anything. Let's just sit down. We'll talk to Karen. We're going to go and talk to your lawyer about this. We'll figure this out. So as they're talking, Andi comes in. And he's like, oh, what's up, Andi? And she's like, hey, Zack, how are you guys doing? And then she's like, okay, Zack, well, go ahead and leave. I got things to do. And he's like, you kicking me out? And then something happened where he was like, well, Andi, he was like, I'm going to say bye to you, but I ain't going to touch you, because every time I touch somebody, they seem to get pregnant. And Andi like, what he talking about? Because Andi doesn't know about the stripper baby yet. So he's like, don't worry about it. I'll see you later. So he tells Fatima he'll see her later. So Fatima tells Andi, okay, I got this ready for this case and all this, that, and the third for you. And check, check, check. I'm doing my job. Boom, boom, boom. And Andi says, great. Okay, awesome. You on the ball. Is Robin here? So she says, yes, Robin is here. So she's like, okay, I'm going to go talk to him. So Andi goes and talks to Robin. Okay. And he asks her, how'd everything go with your friend? And she's like, thank you so much. Yeah, she got out. She's out. And he said, you sure she's not going to run? Because he got like a meal on her bail at this point. And she's like, I promise you she's not going to run. And he's like, okay, because I got a lot riding on this. Then he says, Robin apologizes about being an a-hole to Andi. And he says, he thought she would be used to, but he said, I'm sorry for being an a-hole, but I thought you'd be used to it by now, given who you're dealing with. And she was like, okay, come on now. It's a little too soon for you to be trying to throw some jabs. And he was like, I'm sorry. I'm just in such a pissy mood these days. And she was like, why? What's wrong? So he was like, basically he's in the midst of a hostile takeover of the company or whatever. And he was like, do you know, the partners are basically forcing him on a call, and they're leveraging trying to make him leverage. I took a lot out to leverage. He says he took out a lot out to leverage to take on this firm, and the partners are forcing him on a call. And he asked Andi, does she know what a call means? And she says it's when the majority does a capital raise and every member has to put into the pot. He says, boom, you're right. And he says his portion of the pot, unfortunately, is 14 million. And at this time, it's going to be a problem for him to do that, especially since he's down another meal helping her friend. So he tells her Gary and Hayden are behind it, and he didn't know that, they were trying to do this. And he says that's why Gary has been so extra nice to him. And he says Hayden is backing him and helping him do it as well. And so Andi doesn't tell him anything. I'm like, Andi, you know the whole plan and you can possibly help him. You saw the papers in Gary's jacket of the entire plan of what they're trying to do. This man has given you money to help get your friend out that you don't have to give him back. This man has helped you get Zack out of jail. This man has helped you in so many ways, so much more than Gary has ever done. And what Andi doesn't understand is if Gary takes over this company, he's really going to have control over her. Because now not only is he going to be in control of your living space now he's going to be in control of how you make a living. Because y'all remember, Gary don't really want her working. He wants to be able to control her. He wants to be able to control everything she does. And Andi's job is really the only thing that makes her maintain her independence. So he's doing everything he can to try to take over her life and to make sure that she has to do whatever he wants and needs her to do. She's basically going to be at his beck and call. This man has squeezed your ribs to the point where you were about to lose all of your breath and life in your body. He left you stranded somewhere because of some legal stuff he had going on and all the stuff he got going on with his wife. You shouldn't have been messing with him in the first place because he's a married man, but you continue to sleep with him, listening to him talk about, oh, well, my marriage is not going great and all this. That's how all these niggas do. Blame it on the wife. Blame it on all the stuff that she's not doing so you can feel bad for him. Okay, if you feel so miserable, leave her. And where's Gary's kids? I ain't seen Gary with not one kid. You spending all your time up in Andi's penthouse in the sky high. But I never seen Gary with his children. Where they at though? And isn't one of them autistic? So you are leaving your kids with this crazy lady that almost tried to kill Andi. It's a lot going on here. And do you have enough money to be putting up 14 million? Obviously, you got money to just be wasting because you done sat up here and bought Andi's penthouse, bought her this car. And I'm not about to buy anything with any money that I don't have that's liquid, that I can't, it's okay for me to not get it back. So all of this stuff is just not making any sense. He's doing all of this to control Andi, and Andi doesn't see the toxicity behind that. This man has done nothing for you that is really for you. Everything that Gary does for Andi, the backlog of it is for how he can benefit and how he can control her and how he can make her do what he wants her to do. She is dumb. I'm not saying she has to be with Robin, but if I had to make a choice between the two, I would definitely be gravitating more towards Robin. Abso-freaking-lutely. There is absolutely no way I would be sitting up here letting Gary control me like this. It's insane. Then you see him teaming up with Hayden, the self-same individual that's over here doing all this stuff to your friend. You gotta know it's sicko 1 and 2. That's some sick shit that they're doing. And you over here just basking in the glory of Gary. And by the way, she says, "Oh, well, I'm only sleeping with Gary and keeping him happy because it's some new clients that I have at the firm that I don't want him to mess it up, and I'm just trying to make sure I get these new clients." You know how much he's going to be controlling with your clients if he takes over the business? Duh. Tell Robin what's going on, stupid. So instead of her helping Robin to figure it out, she tells him, "Well, I really feel bad for you. There's one thing that you can do." She tells him about some her old client that the husband does loans. Basically, he a loan shark. So he can go get a loan from the loan shark. Well, bitch, why you ain't get a loan from the loan shark? Why you ain't get the loan to get Sabrina out from him? Talking about something, he might break your ribs. His interest is really high on his loans too. It sounds like another character that Tyler Perry about to introduce that's lame and don't even need to be in the story. It's giving one of Tyler Perry's friends' sons want to get into acting, so he just made up a role for him. That's what I feel like is about to happen. I really feel like that's what's about to happen, and it's really about to piss me off. Okay, child. Robin says, "Okay, well, I'll think about it if I want to take you up on that." Andi says, "Well, I don't want you to lose this place, so I want you to fight it." Girl, get out of here before I fight you, because you dumb. Moving on. Karen arrives at the hair salon, and Pam, basically is questioning her, like, "Why are you in here, girl? You ain't supposed to be in here." So Karen's like, "I'm good. The doctor said I can work. Everything's good. I'm fine. Make sure you get my books together like normal, and I'm about to be back on my grind again." So she was like, "Is Aaron in here?" And Pam was like, "No, is he supposed to be in here?" She was like, "Oh, okay, no, he's on his way. So just let me know when he gets here." So she goes in the back. Aaron comes in. Pam is like, "Can I help you?" I'm like, "Pam, you know that he there to see the damn girl. Just go and send him in the back." So she's flirting around with Aaron. She's like, "Oh, I know you just here to be a little puppy following behind Karen." She in the back. So he goes in the back. And she says, "Well, the doctor said everything was good." And he says, "It's Zack's baby, isn't it?" He's just like, "Just come on with it," because I knew you was going to say that. Mind you, I think that doctor that broke all types of HIPAA laws before, telling Aaron that Karen was actually in the hospital, I think she already done told Aaron that that's his baby, child. She probably got Karen's DNA and everything and figured out that that's his baby. But I digress. So he's like, "So that's disappointing." So he was basically disappointed. She was like, "How you feel?" Like, it was like she was trying to rub it in that it was Zack's baby. She's constantly trying to poke Aaron to see if he's going to break. And I don't know why he hasn't. Why are you so pressed to deal with her? She is not a diamond in the rough. She is a diamond in the dirt and the poop. Okay. Because don't nobody want to deal with her shit. I don't know why you want to so bad, but whatever. So anyway, she's just like, "I've never seen anybody be as good as you are." She was like, "You are just such a good person." Because he was just basically like, "I'm just here to make sure you're okay. That's fine that that's his baby, but I just want to make sure you're good. Are you okay? Even though I'm a little disappointed, I'm here to support you." And she's like, "Wow, like, you still staying true to what you said." So then they begin to eat, and he's like, well, are you going to tell Zack? And she's like, well, I don't know. What you mean you don't know if you're going to tell this man this is his baby? If it's his baby, tell him, girl. What are you waiting for? Like, unbelievable. Unbelievable. You was pressed to tell Andi to tell Fatima. That's how I know you full of it. And she didn't say the 19th. She said the 12th. That's Aaron's baby. Trust and believe. I know that. She's lying. Okay. So they're sitting there talking, and she's being vague about when she's going to tell Zack. And so Pam comes in, and she says, well, Sabrina is here. So Aaron says, okay, well, I'll step out or whatever. You can go ahead and talk to your girl. So Sabrina comes in, and Pam comes in with her. And she's like, so what, you want to come and get your hair done? Your hair is cute like that. What, you want to get your locks back in or whatever? And she was like, well, yeah, I do want to get my hair done. But she's looking at Pam like, well, are you going to get out? Because I definitely don't want to be talking to you. So Pam says, oh, okay. So I'm going to go ahead and head on out because that's my cue. So she's talking to Karen. Sabrina's talking to Karen. She gets emotional. She's like, I didn't ask for this. Like, my hair being like this is nice and all, but I didn't ask for this. Like, I want my dress back. And I guess her getting her hair back to what it was signifies in her mind things going back the way they were before her life was changed. So she's talking to Karen. She's like, yeah, Calvin beat up Q, and, it was just all this going on. And I'm just so frustrated. Maurice is still in jail. I don't know how to get him out. She's just so frustrated. And Karen's like, it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. Let's go get your hair. Let's get your hair done. It's gonna be just fine or whatever. So moving on, Fatima meets with Fatima calls Madam and has Madam to send over a decoy, because she's like, I want you to send over the baddest that can get this for all of his money, talking about Hayden. So she meets with the decoy, shows up. She goes and talks to her. Homegirl is so ghetto in the beginning. She looks pretty. She's dressed very nicely. And she's like, okay, well, what are you going to do? Like, do you know what you're here for? And, Fatima tells her, yeah, I want you to get to know him, know everything he likes. I want you to really make him fall for you. And I want you to take him for everything he's got. And she's like, yeah, I got you. And, being all ghetto, she was like, I'm going to need you to go ahead and tame that right on down. Because all of that you're doing, he ain't going to be attracted to that. And she was like, and whatever you like. Like, she goes into the whole bark like a dog. Like, basically, I know what I'm doing. So she says, I can switch it up, sis. I can do whatever you need me to do. She was like, you just, Madam must not have told you. I'm on my I know what I'm doing. And I got this. So she's like, okay. All right, cool. Well, just tone down the ghetto. But okay, cool. So she said, go ahead up front and ask for him. So she goes back up front, and she tells the receptionist to call Hayden's office. So Hayden is like, the receptionist says, you have a client up front. And Hayden is like, what's their name? And he's like, I don't know her. I don't take no walk-ins. And she was like, well, she's pretty much insisting to meet with you or whatever. So he was like, all right, fine, I'll come up there. So he comes up there and he sees how pretty the girl is. And she's like, oh, yeah, I have a case and blah, blah, blah. Apparently her case is supposed to be about some car accident. It seemed like all these people coming to Hayden for services that this man doesn't provide. He's a tax lawyer. Somebody getting into a car accident, baby mama drama, child support, that ain't taxes. But anyway, he takes the bait. He's, she's all giving him yeah, my friend said you were fine and you were so intelligent and all this, giving him all the accolades. So I just had to come and see you. He's like, oh, who's your friend? She's like, oh, don't worry about it, but just trust me. She said, I agree with everything she said. I'm like, okay, sis, whatever. So they go on back in his office and have a good old chat. Okay. So then, is that the last of it? So for, oh, I didn't even write out the rest of it. So in the end, the lawyer sits down and oh no, that's not the end of it. Hold on, y'all. I lost my space. Okay, so she goes back. Fatima walks by and she's happy with herself because she feels like her plan worked. Okay, so Q goes to work. he all beat up or whatever from the golf clubs because Calvin then gave it to him real good. A good old fashioned beat down, okay? So he lies to Danny saying, yeah. She was like, what happened to you? He was like, yeah, I saw that guy that was in here outside and I beat him up. I got to him. I beat him up for you. She was like, well, you look like you the one that's beat up. Are you sure? She was like, where you see him at? And so he is sitting up there lying, basically trying to get in her good graces. And she's like, so you let a man that was already beat up on crutches get you like this? He was like, yeah, he had a bat. She was like, And he's like, yeah, so you gonna let me walk you to your car later? She was like, yeah, no, I'm good. I'll take care of myself. You might need to go get on your little cart and ride around. Cause this right here, this ain't what you want. I'm not getting involved in your crap. So Danny sees right through him, even though he's trying to continue to lie to her and try to get in her good graces. I hope she don't fall for it. And I need them to hurry up and figure out who he is, okay? Because soon as she do, it's gonna be all she wrote for Sir, okay? So moving on. Fatima goes to Andi's office and lets her know she's getting ready to leave. And she's like, man, I got to get out of these shoes. My feet hurt. My feet is hurting. My dogs is barking. Okay. So she's ready to go. So Andi says, okay, yes, everything's cool. I talked to Robin and everything's good to go. He helped Sabrina. And, because she asked, how did it go with Robin? And she's like, everything's good. He helped Sabrina get out. We talked about some things. He actually apologized for all those things that he said. And Fatima was like, did he really? Like, does he really mean it? Like, because that was really messed up. And she was like, yeah, he apologized. We're all good. And I understand why he said what he said. So then Andi says, oh, okay, so, all right. And Fatima was like, why you do all of that? And Andi was like, so we keep secrets from each other? Fatima was like, what are you talking about? She was like, so that tan line on your hand. Uh-huh. Where they do that at besides an engagement ring? Because I know you lie. You ain't told me nothing about that. So Fatima was like, I don't know what you're talking about, but my feet, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and head on out. She was like, yeah, I know you lying. You tried it. Sit your ass down and tell me what the heck's going on here. So she sits down, and that's where the scene ends. So then the last scene, we see the lawyer with Maurice basically trying to badger him to sign some piece of paper so that he can turn on Sabrina. So Maurice refuses to do it, but the lawyer is like, well, Sabrina already turned on you. She's out. She's out of jail. And he's like, whatever. And he's like, well, you're going to be in here for a very long time unless you sign this paper. If you sign this paper, I can get you out in an hour. And Maurice is like, in an hour? So he's seen with the pen in his hand. But I don't think Maurice gonna sign that paper. Like, first of all, this is some cockamamie BS. Anybody will listen to that tape and know that was a joke. This whole situation with Maurice and Sabrina is a joke. There has to be another way that they could have introduced Maurice to the group some kind of way. This is just so ridiculous to me. All these storylines are just getting so stupid. But I just can't seem to stop watching this foolishness. It's like an addiction, like a cheese addiction. You know you shouldn't be eating it, and you know you're going to be backed up for days, but you still eat it because somehow it's satisfying. Tyler Perry is giving me cheese right now. I can't. All right, y'all. That's it. That's Sista's episode 12. Please drop down in the comments. Let me know. Do you think that that's really Karen's baby? Is she going to tell the truth? And how long it's going to take us to find that out and to see a baby bump? Child. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching. Please, please, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Peace out.